Howdy, ladies and gentlemen. This is Mystic Robert. Thank you for tuning in or watching the Station Square podcast. And today we have a special guest in the corner. You've seen her around on social media. You've seen her on the Twitter, on the Facebook, Instagram, whichever social platforms you're like active on. She's been around in the VA community for a while and also a pretty good friend of mine. So let me introduce Miss Shakyra Dunn. Thank you very much for joining me on today's episode. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm pretty good. Just got off work, so I'm tired, but here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no worries. Not a problemo. So yeah, would you like to share just pretty much what is it that you main? I mean, I know that you've been doing voiceover for a while, but like share what else that I guess your little bio, like the projects that you're most known for, what an average day consists of for you, and just anything about yourself that you like to share. Why get that out of the way before we get started with the Q&A?
Okay. Let me think. What is my normal day like? Oh gosh. So
Yeah.
wake up as always, I hope. I usually go to my day job like right after I wake up, unless it's like I usually have like Wednesdays and Thursdays off. So if I'm not dealing with my day job, I kind of just coast for a bit, eat breakfast, have my normal routine, hydrate, stay hydrated.
Yes, you should.
And then I just kind of work with the schedule that I have listed up on my little closet here on the opposite side of this door. Try to have a schedule, folks, because it benefits. Trust me.
Yeah. And what's something about yourself that not a lot of people know of? They really know about you. Yeah. So far, at least.
Ooh, something they don't know? Oh gosh. I don't know. I'm a pretty open book about a lot of things. Like to
Oh,
the point
yeah.
of where it's kind of crazy because I'm a massive fangirl. So you're gonna see it.
Oh, yeah. I bet this is probably what we're going to be indulging into for most of this podcast. I
Oh,
mean,
the hype.
that's pretty much what I mostly do. Like, literally, like on my podcast, we like the guests and we kind of geek out about whatever it is that is on our minds. Like we could just be having a conversation about like I don't know cooking, and then we could just talk about favorite foods and just kind of go off from there, and then talk about like Paris or France or whatever country serve like they have the best food. I mean, like even though I am an American, I kind of have different tastes. Sorry.
I mean, I feel.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. So yeah, I guess with that said, let's just just chill and just talk about just whatever. It could just be about like, I don't know, the business. It could just be about whatever we're into, just anything. Everything's fair game. So yeah.
Fair.
Fair, or like at least anything that our minds that we can just, without straying into like, any like I don't know. I don't want to say controversial, but like getting into like, I don't know, just we'll see how this goes. Because all of this is clearly unscripted and, I don't have anything set in stone, but anyways, let's finally get on to the Q&A. So, I think you might have told this story before, but like share a brief little like introduction about yourself. Like, what is it that got you into everything that you're doing right now? Like with writing, voiceover, just what's your little origin story or backstory rather?
Oh, well, I mainly got my start in a lot of things because of Kingdom Hearts. That's a very good origin story, isn't it? Because it's so extensive. When I was about 14, my best friend basically came up to me at some point because I was staying over their house. Her older sister was like, "Did you know you sound a lot like Kyrie?" I'm like, "No." Like, of all the characters you could have pinned me with, it's her. And then lo and behold, I decided to see if that's actually true on my laptop mic back when that was still a thing. That was, ooh, laptop mics. Do you remember those?
Oh
The
yeah, that's how I
quality.
got my start. Some
The
of the
quality.
oldest, yeah, some of the oldest, like I still have them on like, I don't know, casting call, but I still have a lot of the old auditions that I did out there. And ooh, ooh, ooh,
Oh
ooh.
boy.
Mm. Yeah, you know what? I probably might just expose myself and just, put it out there. I think there was like something that people were doing a while back, where they had like share the first audition you've done and then redo it. And with the current setup that you had, like do that audition, redo it. Now, I don't know. But yeah, just a lot of trends that people do. But anyways, continue.
Actually, I did do that challenge myself now that I think about it back a few years ago. Probably
Yeah,
could do it even better now. Oh boy. Anyway,
yeah. I can't recall
yeah,
if I did it. Yeah,
trends.
yeah.
After that, I kind of just decided to test it on my computer and played it back, and I'm like, huh, maybe I do kind of have similar tones to Kyrie. And then after that, I just kind of started playing with the idea of voice work, just randomly doing some weird lines from Kingdom Hearts. Like I even did Maleficent at a point back then, which no, I 14-year-old me was too high pitched for that.
I
And
mean,
it kind of just snowballed from there.
yeah, well, I mean, it's good that you're finding out like what are you're experimenting early on. Like, what are the characters that you could do that really fit within your like I guess in your vocal range, and what are the characters that you would be best suited as. I know for a lot of people, like if they're like baritone, then they usually voice like the dads, or like the more, or the villains, or the more like the big gruff, the like the big guys, like usually the big guys, like the soldiers and whatnot. And for people like I mean, for me, for instance, I usually like for characters that are like within like the medium low range. You can play like a lot of heroes. You could play the sidekicks, the guy next door, or just be your local neighborhood e-learning voice for narrations or commercials. So
Nice.
yeah, but yeah, it's really cool to experiment early on. But yeah, that was literally how I got my start. Like you see this, like this room right here, like I have my closet right behind me. That's pretty much where I record it now. But back then I had no idea what sound treatment was. I have no idea
Oh,
like the pop, what the, this pop filter I had here. I had no idea about that. It was just me, my built-in computer, and then soon, actually it's still sitting. Yeah, the blue Yeti mic. I don't know if I can reach it, but yeah, it's like literally sitting like right besides me, like as of right now. That's what I've been using for a couple of years, and then I switched to this right here. Um, my new setup, AT Focusrite, got that going.
hey.
Except I do it in a closet. So
I
it's
mean,
really
I vibe.
interesting. Yeah.
I vibe. I literally am. I tricked my closet out a lot over the last few months. So
And it,
still
yeah,
working.
yeah. And as we've clearly seen, it looks, let me see. Yeah, it looks pretty good from what I'm seeing here.
I still got a little bit of work to do, but it's better than it was a few months ago, at least. And there's actually a monitor in here. So,
Oh, cool, cool. Yeah, I can't wait to finally, get to that stage. But yeah, let's talk about like, I guess when we first started, like upgrading your room setup. Let's talk about that. So you can explain your little, like, I guess, upgrading history, so to speak.
ooh, fun.
Yeah.
Well, I started, like I was saying, I started back with a laptop when I was a little bitty teenager. I didn't even do like the plug-in mics, those like the Logitech ones. Yeah, I didn't even touch those back then. I always just kind of did the built-in laptop one until I was maybe like 17. Then I stopped doing voice work for a while. And then I was about 24 years old when I decided, like, there's a microphone in this pawn shop and I need to try again. Because I literally got obsessed with just looking at that Blue Yeti in the shop. And I'm like, I should buy that. I should really buy that. And then maybe like a month later, it was still there and I ended up buying it. And honestly, after I started with that process, it was maybe 6 months in, I decided to finally do a demo. That was my biggest mistake ever. Don't do a demo immediately.
Um, I mean, like, I kind of tried to make a demo myself, and yeah, it basically in the with my built-in, or no, it was on my Blue Yeti bike. Basically, in the you know, you can hear that untreated sound quality. And I'm not even sure if I still have that really old demo that I tried to make myself. I think it just kind of like it just got Thanos snapped out of existence at this point. Because it was on a different computer. It like that pretty much just kind of, yeah, the hard drive just kind of was gone at that point. So I have no access to any of this stuff that I had out there. But one of the stuff that I was glad that is now lost was that old demo, which oh boy.
You can hear all the crackles.
Yeah.
I have
Don't
mine on my
remind me.
YouTube just for the memories, to be honest.
Yeah, it's a good, I mean, it's good because like you get to at least look back and you're like, you know what? I'm glad that I actually went, I, got better over time. So
Mhm.
yeah, you ever, I know this is a question that you kind of hear often, but you ever look back and you're kind of like, but then you
Oh,
realize that like, you got better over time, but still when you listen back, it's kind of, you kind of have that, mindset of like, wow, you know what? I was bad, but hey, I'm so glad that I did this. And yeah, look at me now. Has that
oh man.
impact?
I actually, funny enough, did that right before I started setting up the actual closet again, because I
Mhm.
listened back to some old recordings for a project I got. Rise of the Machine Girls actually is what the one I was listening to. And then I started actually treating it after listening to that recording back. And I'm like, my audio does not sound nearly as professional as all the other people in that movie. And I need to fix that right now.
Yeah, guys. It's something else too is like it's incredible that a lot of people are setting up their home studio booths and they're putting in, the time to adjust their closets and like because the community, like the industry is always changing, like
Mhm.
with the stuff that people are doing now. Like when you watch like the Funimation and the Crunchyroll dubs, like everybody was recording remotely and they put in the extra time and care and effort to make sure that everybody is in the same room. I know that some
Mhm.
studios have opened back up where they can actually go into a studio and not have to deal with the many, many, many technical issues, which oh boy,
Mhm.
um, yeah, those the Source Connect dips just yikes.
Gosh,
So
the Source Connect dips, the different types of mics, the different
Discord,
quality,
yeah,
Discord and Zoom,
Skype,
everything in between.
yeah. But if we're gonna talk tech issues, I think we'd be here for like another 30 minutes or so. Yeah,
True.
so yeah, true, true. So growing up when you were a kid, you were, I mean, like obviously Kingdom Hearts is pretty much number one as you seeing your social media, like especially on Twitter, it's just been a huge influence. But yeah, is there like what other franchises or um like any pieces of media that you grew up with that you were exposed to that also left a huge influence on you as a person and as a voiceover artist?
Oh gosh, I know, especially with my writing for certain books, I have a huge link to Ghibli movies. One of my books, actually, The Final Lesson, the two-book series I have, literally inspired by Kiki's Delivery Service.
I just watched that, like literally I just watched that a few weeks ago.
Oh, that movie was my entire 6-year-old life, my entire life. And then I was wholly disappointed when I turned 13 and didn't become a witch.
uh
So
yeah,
it's like, why not make my own instead?
mm, yeah, like for Kiki, it's really interesting looking back because I've kind of been on like an 80s 90s nostalgia kick. I've just been watching a lot of like old anime like Dragon Ball, Sailor Moon, which yeah, I kind of was surprised that I actually liked because as a kid I was like, oh my gosh, that stuff is for girls. Like I'm
So,
not into superheroes. Like I'm not into that stuff. But as I got older, Sailor Moon is actually a lot better than I gave it credit for. And I've also seen like other anime like what is it? Evangelion. I've just started watching the whole the full like original series for the first time, and yeah, that's a trip.
I gotta sit
And
down and
just
watch that one of these days. I could never stand it as a child, so I've been
yeah,
thinking now that I'm older, is like it's gonna be better, I imagine.
I mean, trust me, it's very thought provoking as an adult. Like, there's a lot of stuff that we watch and we've seen, or like that we've been exposed to as children. Like, we first watched as kids, and then when you get older, it's like, huh, this actually ages a lot better than I give it credit for.
Mhm.
So, old anime, old TV shows like Simpsons, and just some Disney afternoon stuff um, that I've been rewatching recently. So it's nice to go back and check out and take a trip to the blast of the past. I have seen like a lot of modern stuff. I think for me, is I kind of call me old fashioned, but you just can't beat the classics. You just can't.
I don't argue.
Yeah. And so yeah, so when you were a kid, like you've been watching all of this stuff, uh were there also like any people in your life that you would call to be like big inspirations, like favorite, like if we're going to talk about our favorite like artists, writers, VAs, people in your personal life who also inspired you to shaping you up to be the person that you are today?
Oh, gotcha. Well, first, obviously, would be my mom. My mom
Oh
was
yeah.
my whole world, basically. And literally, if losing her was hugely damaging for me, but it's also really shaped me into a more humble person. Like I try to motivate people to actually, get to the best points in their life, even when I'm struggling myself, because I'm again open book. I just think it's better for people to slowly get built on themselves and grow from it. It takes time really just to kind of develop. Loss is painful, everything's crazy, but we have to keep moving forward, even if it's just slowly.
Yeah, I totally agree. Considering that I recently lost someone very close to me, I totally that message rings true to me, like
Yeah.
right now. So, yeah, were there others in your life that you would consider to be like who inspired you, like voiceover wise or writing or just art, just people in general?
Oh, okay. Getting away from the somberness. Here's a funny
Yeah.
one. Lemony Snicket is actually the reason I started writing. I was
Mm.
obsessed with the series of unfortunate events growing up, and then I read the 13th book, and I immediately thought to myself, I don't want to be this kind of writer because that ending was just anticlimactic. It was too open ended. I hated that ending of that series. I hated it. And I decided I never wanted to do any writing like that as long as I live. So that's a funny one.
Oh, were you going to continue? I thought you were going to name like artists or voiceover actors who've also inspired you.
I'm just kind of thinking on it. All right. Voice work. Laura
Yeah.
Bailey, definitely.
Mhm.
Uh, who else? I would have said Tara Strong like a year ago.
Oh.
I mean,
Yeah.
technically speaking, yeah, I guess voice influence is still that applies. Mm,
Yeah.
person, however, I grew up and started to actually look at people. Anyway, who else? Who else? Hmm. Kira Buckland actually inspires me a lot.
Yeah.
Who else? Oh gosh, there are so many different voice actors. Hmm. I think that's all I can think of off my head immediately. Oh no, no, wait, Christina V. Christina V. Now I'm done.
Great. Yeah, because like if I try to list off any particular favorites, I mean, I've said it over and over again, like Mel Blanc and people like Tom Kenny, Rob Paulson, all those people, like in various interviews that
Mhm.
I've said that though mainly people that I watched as a kid, like on Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon, yeah, Disney, like just people that I've noticed that a lot of them are like mainly work, mostly work in like for like prelay animation. There are
Mhm.
some anime influences I would name, but like the list is just way too many. It's a very,
Yeah.
very, very long list, and I would just ramble on. So yeah. Uh let's see, for artists, like do you actually draw or like sketch out from time to time?
I used to do a lot more drawing when I was younger. I touch it every now and then, but I'm not the biggest artist these days. I do the other kinds of art.
So like digital art.
Mhm.
Oh, okay, nice. So
I do
what were
follow a lot of artists.
oh, okay. Any ones that you like to shout out?
I know one of my favorites for sure is Shakyras. Like they do a lot of background art and they're very spectral. I love it.
Okay.
Mm. Are there any other ones? Hmm. I like Ross Draws as well.
Okay.
God, I could spout off artists, didn't I? Hmm. There are so many. It's the same problem as voice actors. There's just so many I can think of,
Yeah, it's
and it's
way
just
too many.
narrowing it down.
Yeah. I guess there's one I would like to give a shout out. KLN or Ballbots. Um,
Oh,
yeah, because they've actually done my current the art that you see as my avatar that I have on Twitter and everywhere. They actually did the art for commission that I commissioned them a while back, and it looks really good. So they actually did my current profile pic that I use on social media, and they actually do like head art profile pics for a lot of voice actors. So if you guys want, you should totally follow them. They're really cool. At Ballbots on Twitter.
yeah. I've always wanted one of their commissions, but I could never get them in time.
Yeah, yeah. I think they fell up fast, so it's kind of like it
Yeah.
just got to be like right there. For like art though, what was something that you drew that you could say that you're really proud of, if you could remember, as far back as you could possibly remember?
I used to do a lot of character art for. I did like base designs for some of the characters that I've written stories for. I wish I still had the actual art itself, but I used to be so proud of those little drawings because it's like now I just got to put them in paper, put them in a book.
Oh yeah, definitely. So where does the name serif words come from?
Oh, that is actually thanks to my roommate who is in the other room. He's a huge Homestuck fan. So he kind of just played around with words when I was deciding on like a new YouTube username. And he's like, "Well, you like books and you are integral in terms of wordsmithing. Why not steer of words?" And I was just like, "Oh, it's perfect."
Yes, yes. Very good indeed.
So yeah, it's because of him.
Yeah. And when you first got started on, at least online as a voiceover artist, were you like, was it kind of like almost a bit scary when you started out and looking at the community right now? Like, was it like a scary feeling when you first got your start?
Honestly, yeah, I was 24 turning 25 when I decided to jump back in. And I kind of went in with that mindset like, "Oh gosh, there's all these young people already debuting. Am I too old?" No, I'm not
And
too old.
you're never too old. I mean, like, there is no such thing as being too old.
Yeah, it just felt weird back being in like my mid 20s already and deciding to just now come back to voice work. And I'm like, just am I too old for this? Is it too late for me to actually get a chance in anime? Oh boy, that was not even the first step towards getting towards anime. And I'm still not at that point.
Oh yeah, yeah. Um, and did you actually expect to, and this is a fun question I usually ask, but like, did you expect to at least get to this stage at this point in your career?
Honestly, if I'm being completely blunt, I didn't even expect to be alive at this point. Sorry, I have a bit of crude humor, but yeah, I didn't even expect to be alive, if I'm being honest.
Hmm. I mean, well, hey, I mean, we all have that little bit of like, okay, yeah, I have the sense of humor, and it helps me deal with day-to-day life. It helps me cope, I guess.
On the more less crude note, no, I honestly never expected to get the following I have. I never expected to even be making any progress in voice work by this stage. Like, it's still baffling to me just looking back on what I started with in like early 2020 and getting my very first named role. And I'm like, I'm in a movie. How in the world did that happen?
I know. I was like, oh wow, okay.
Like, I'm in a movie now with voice actors I admire like crazy, and I don't know how that happened.
I mean, we, it's weird
Life is
sometimes.
weird. Life is
Yeah.
strange, that game, yes.
Oh yes, yes, it can be. Um, yeah, I still cannot believe when I saw that announcement. I'm like, oh my gosh, wow. Okay, this just happened. Cool. Like,
It was
no,
just
no, yeah, I'm not even kidding. I'm not even exaggerating. I was like, oh my God, how? Like, I still have no idea. It just blew my mind. Like, I genuinely am proud of you, but it's like, whoa, my
thank
friend is
you.
in a movie.
I
What?
remember sitting in my car after work and just I didn't even know about the announcement until I went on my lunch break in my day job. And then Yara just posted all the actual cast list, and I'm like, Sean Chiplock, Jonas Scott, PMC Moore. I'm like, what is this cast list?
Oh
Why
my,
am I
yeah.
here?
And I had Sean on my podcast, but that was like years ago. Um, but yeah, I would like to have him back on again. But yeah, it's just still like, oh, whoa, it's pretty, it's wild actually getting to be in a project with VAs that you admire, like people that have inspired your career since you were kids. It still hasn't happened to me, but like if it's something like, oh my gosh, I'm in a project with this person, like, wow, okay. And then at the end of the day, it's like, you have to treat them as like regular people.
Exactly.
And you can't like idolize them because like they're human beings as well. They're just like you and me. So but it's still, you still get that jazz feeling, like it's unbelievable that like, oh my gosh, I'm in a project with this person. What?
Exactly. Like I kind of learned from the don't idolize your favorites after just how everything started going controversial. Like certain voice actor that we will not name in terms of the male community of FMA.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. But yeah, and there's like, I mean, to be fair, there's like other VAs out there, but like at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, but we just can't really idolize people, and we can't like, just say, oh my gosh, yeah, because they can have flaws too, and sometimes people can, screw up, but we're not going to get into that little
Mhm.
can of worms, because we just want to talk about like,
We're here to have fun.
have fun. We're just here to have a jolly grand old fun time. But at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, the voiceover community, especially, it can be really nice, positive, and supporting. Despite some bad apples here and there have been a lot over the years, but for the most part, everybody's just been incredibly just nice, and just we just want to help each other win, and we just want to genuinely want each other, all of us, to just succeed at the end of the day, um, and just get better as time goes on, because everything's always just, you just don't know, everything's just kind of unpredictable.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line. I mean, like for the past 2 years, nobody expected, this whole like pandemic to like really happen. I mean, if I'm going to be totally honest. So I guess
Gosh.
that's another question. So like, how has it really personally affected, not affected, but like, how did it change like your work ethic and just your life in general?
Oof. See, the pandemic itself was all right for my starting point because it's like, oh, I don't have to work anymore because I got fired. So it's like now I have to kind of put all my eggs into my voice acting basket. So it's kind of from there I started like building on actually trying to do some soundproofing and making my equipment decent again. And the pandemic also decided to bring up a windstorm in my state and take my apartment away.
I'm so sorry about that. Jeez.
Yeah,
Yeah, I remember
it's
seeing all of that. Yeah.
on the plus, it did allow me to move to a bigger place, and I got to trick out a closet this time.
I mean, like, yeah, there's at least the bright side. There's always a silver lining out of every bad situation, you know?
Yeah, that's kind of how I try to see it, at least. I've at least been able to develop my setup and get some bigger roles and roles I never expected to get, and just opportunities that still kind of just knock at times. And it's still surprising that it's even happening. So it's been good for that side of the pandemic. I still work a day job, so it's very crappy on that front because you're still dealing with a bunch of people on the side.
Oh, yeah. And
Mm.
tell us a little about how the day job is going.
Oh Lord.
Yeah.
See, I work in retail, so that's kind of one mixed bag in itself. I work at a flooring store, so it's also just dealing with a lot of people that either have questions or know nothing or are willing to scream at you and try to demand what they want, as retail does.
Yeah. And it's also not fun dealing with like the certain groups of people that are against like masks or vaccines. And yeah,
Yeah.
not fun at all. So, not to get into that, can of worms, but yeah, because there's a lot that I mean, I could just go on a rant. Oh my god! But just yeah, it's just incredibly because a lot of people do have to like they hustle like they have 9 to 5 jobs and they're still juggling voiceover work. So I guess that's kind of another question that I have. It's how do you juggle in between like I guess your personal life and also doing the work that you're doing online?
I cry deeply. No, no.
I mean, all of us do.
In actuality, I was really terrible about it for a while. It was only after my friend Zach actually started helping me out, and he's like, you need to actually start making a schedule. That'll help you out a lot more in the long run. Because if you keep just going and going, you're going to lose track of everything. And oh boy, the last month and a half of just actually trying to keep to a schedule, like keeping a whiteboard, keeping a planner. Yeah, that's been a bit satisfying, at least. Why do I talk with my hands anyway?
I mean, all of us. I mean, we can get pretty physical when we're behind the booth. Like, I mean, that's how it helps us get more into character, I guess.
I talk with
Just
my hands to explain.
these, my hands, my fingers. I can't look it up. This is the one SpongeBob reference you'll get on this podcast, at least for this episode. But yeah, and warm ups. Do you sing or do you like do like the tongue twisters? What are your warm ups? Kind of
Ooh,
curious.
I sing. I sing a lot before I go and actually try to record things. It just warms up the diaphragm a lot to actually try to sing, even if you
Yeah,
sing badly. Even if you sing badly, it helps.
my way. I did it my way. Yeah,
I
like
take
that
it you play
phrase.
Strangers in Paradise.
I did it my way. Or like, what's one other one? When the mood hits your eye, that's a body. That is terrible. But yeah, it is what it is. I mean, you've also done a lot of song covers. So what actually inspired you to start I guess singing in general?
I was always pretty self-taught. Like I remember very vividly being like 10 or 11 years old and just blasting Wicked of all things. I really love Broadway music. I'm not a theater kid by any means, but I love Broadway music like crazy.
Oh, this is
And
fun. Yeah, that's fine. Mhm.
yeah, I really just kind of started building from that. And I think I was maybe 15 years old when I decided, like, hey, maybe I should post these song covers. Oh boy, that that was interesting start of my teenage life.
Mhm.
And I still kind of listen back to some of the old ones, like, oh my god, the quality, ew.
Yep. Looking at our old content, yikes. So yeah, let's just also talk about like I guess okay, well, my mind just went blank.
It's
See,
okay.
this is all clearly unscripted, as I said before at the beginning of this, but we, um, we have, certain, because like we talked about, we have, certain properties or different franchises that really inspired us to, pursue a path that, they're doing, can use our voices for, I guess, the greater good, and just
Mhm.
really enjoy and genuinely love what we do for a living. So I guess when you go back and look at a particular, because you did say Kingdom Hearts, so what was it about Kingdom Hearts that really, and it seems to be your favorite thing to talk, favorite topic, just favorite in general to just discuss about, like, period. So what was it about that series that really made you fall in love with it?
Oh gosh, the characters. Like,
Yeah.
I was already a huge Disney fan as a child, so
Hmm.
it was so random that I just happened to get into Kingdom Hearts 2 because I remember being 11 years old and watching the Disney 411. Yes, I'm aging myself here. I used to watch Disney 411 and happened to see the commercial for the second game's promo. And I remember being so confused about why Sora's name was the way it was because I didn't understand anything about Japan at the time. And I'm like, that sounds like a really stupid name. And he looks really feminine. And then I slapped my 11-year-old self, picked up the first game about 3 months later. I was immediately hooked. And I was just always really drawn to how the characters were developing, and particularly Sora. He's my favorite character in the series. Judge me. Go for it.
Hmm.
Eh,
Yeah.
and the story is just phenomenal. Convoluted as it can get sometimes. It's really dynamic. There's just so much that happens. There's so much you actually want to see. There's so much going forward, especially now with Kingdom Hearts 4 on the horizon. There's just so much good content with that series. And I want to be in it so badly.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, that's probably just your number one ultimate franchise that is kind of like your dream, like, gig or opportunity. Just Kingdom Hearts, or just, let's talk about dream like opportunities. What would you like to be, like, any piece of franchise, like, besides Kingdom Hearts, because I know that's an obvious one, but any other ones that you would love to work on if you had the chance and the, I guess, even just getting an audition for it, like, what would it be and why?
Oh, honestly, I would love to get an audition for the Tales of series. I've always thought about being a JRPG party member. JRPGs are a huge influence in my life. And ooh, I've taken Wendy Lee's class as well. So it's like now I have an
Ah,
understanding of
yeah.
how JRPG actually works for those mechanics with voice work. And it's like, I want to do it even more. I would love to work in the Tales series. There's so many amazing characters. The gameplay is just fun. The story is amazing for most of those games. I will admit there are a few bad eggs with that series, but I digress. I would, yeah, I would love to work in the Tales series.
Yeah. Um, and I guess what are the challenges and the fun part? What do you consider to be the most fun about doing VO, and what are some of the most, like, I guess, trickier, the more difficult aspects of the doing VO in general, or just
Um,
doing what you do in general? Yeah, writing, just everything.
Honestly, what I love most is stepping into the shoes of a different character. I kind of have moments where I don't like being myself. So it's kind of nice to actually dive into either a good book or doing voice work and just losing myself into a different character. It's just so nice to see a different walk of life and things that are difficult. See, I'm really insecure about how fast I talk. And I didn't realize how much I actually did it until I started taking commercial classes. So I'm a little insecure about that, like all the time now. And I'm probably doing it now. And I'm still trying to think about the fact that I'm doing it, but moving on.
I mean, at least you're being aware of it, and that's a good thing. I mean, we all should be aware of like what we need to work on when it comes to this field of work, pretty much.
Yeah, I always kind of wonder if it's going to be a problem because
Yeah,
commercials really difficult compared to character work. Like a lot of people say it's just so fun to do, and I agree, it's very fun. But it is the hardest thing in the world to transfer yourself from a character voice actor primarily to trying to do commercials, especially if you've done like no commercial work in the beginning. It is so difficult to just make that switch.
yeah, yeah, I agree. Um, and because commercial, it's more conversational. And you get to sit down, and I mean, you get to take a breather after you've done like, I don't know, hours of just recording, just uh you do all of this crazy stuff like as a character, and then you sit down and you have to record a commercial. I mean, it's a lot of fun and I really like doing it. I mean, I've taken commercial classes myself, and the atmosphere is like it's cool, relaxed. um and they want you to be very like enunciation has to be on point. You can't like slur or just have words run together. Like it has to be clear and concise, and that can be. Oh, and also, like it's really like with VO, it's you you're recording and have to sound, and with your performance, it has to be believable and sound like you're actually talking to someone. And that can be a little tricky if you're alone in the booth and self-directing. Yeah, that's the thing. Um, Whereas, like, if you're playing off of another actor, then the chemistry comes across like it's much more natural. So with
Mhm.
you, for self-directing, is it also something that you've kind of grown more confident in over time? Or is there like areas that you feel it kind of needs a little bit more work?
See, I kind of was able to cheat with that growing up because like I said, I'm a writer. I always used to talk to myself when I was younger, so I'm pretty used to that aspect of actually self-directing and being conscious of what I'm going to say and how I'm going to say it in terms of like developing the characters. How are they going to approach it this way? Self-directing didn't really come hard for me, and I guess that's one benefit of it.
Yeah, it can be a bit of a struggle sometimes, so I get you. um, okay, so do you have anybody in the VO community that you'd like to give a shout out to? Any close friends or people that who you consider to be like influences that you also look up to?
Oh gosh, there's so many. There's so many. There's so many. How do I narrow this down? How do I narrow this down? Well, okay, I got some. I want to first thank my buddy Cloud. He's literally the reason why I
Dark
started getting
Cloud,
Dark
right?
Cloud. Yes,
Brandon, you rock, my brother. We gotta hang, dude. Seriously, we
he
gotta
is
hang out
legit the
sometime.
reason why I do voice work so extensively now. Actually,
Yeah, yeah. Brandon's a really cool dude. Who else?
ooh, Patrick Mealy. I
Of
love my
course,
buddy Bell. Of course, we already know Bell.
we all know. Everybody knows Bell.
Everyone knows Bell.
Yeah.
Lucia, Crystal. Let me think. Oh, Allison. There's so many people. I have so many friends. Thank you, of course.
Oh wait, me?
Yes, you.
Thanks. I really do. Not a lot of people actually really do. Like, uh, I'm not gonna sound. I'm not. This is not me trying to sound petty or like giving myself a good old ego boost. But like, not like I mean it. Not a lot of people actually say that like on my own podcast. So I really do appreciate. You know, I mean, I could say the same about you. I mean, I'm just humble bragging here, but really, you really are just yeah, the amount of progress and the growth that you've had is just honestly very it's just inspiring to me, and a lot of people do feel the same way. I'm pretty sure that if I were to start listing people, like I can just speak on behalf of pretty much anybody that you named, like they could also list you or me as an influence. But
Oh.
I mean, it is how it is. Like I said, tight knit community.
Wouldn't have it any other way.
Oh yeah, yeah, of course, faux show, faux show. Yeah, there's just a lot of people. Like I've had Patrick on. Jacob is another one. Clover.
Love
Um,
Jacob and Nick.
oh yeah, John. If you're listening, you rock. John Patnode. Let's see who else. Who else? When Light Hub, Caitlin, just pretty much any voice actor that I've had on. I mean, recently, I just had on. I just posted Dorothy Fawn. I did an interview with her
Oh,
yesterday. I just got her on. Pretty much like yesterday was really the best day for us to do it. And I literally just had her on. For those who don't know, she voiced Beryl from Trigun. Oh, and also Johnny Young Bosch is another one. Let's see, if I were to name like anime influences, Johnny's a big one, Yuri Lowenthal, and a couple more. But like I said, the list is way too many.
yeah, that
And
list is way too huge.
yeah, so Dorothy played Beryl from Trigun, and also she was in Danganronpa, which is very popular on in the voiceover scene. I've even had on a couple of voice actors who have worked on Danganronpa, and I'm planning on getting more. So stay tuned for more in the
Nice.
future. So yeah, as long as everything go aligns, the stars align, I guess. Um,
Oh gosh, I forgot one important person actually.
oh, okay, shoot.
Josh Portillo.
Yes, Josh. Yeah, he's also a really great one. Yeah, he's also always been a really great guy. Always really nice whenever I speak with him, especially whenever when we're down or like when I'm down, because everybody has those moments where we have insecurities. Everybody does. Josh is a really good one.
We've been talking nearly every day since our whole incident with the previous anime that I won't mention because why not?
Oh yeah, that. Oh boy.
Yeah, that.
Yeah, that's that is unfortunate. Mm. I mean, we've all had. There's always going to be like stuff like projects that are going to fall. I mean, like I was in a couple recently that kind of fell apart. Not fell apart, but some drama happened. I won't say the projects what they were, but yeah, it sucks that because sometimes you get cast and then sometimes it just like that situation, for instance, like
Mm-hmm.
yeah. I mean, I've kind of been talking to some people like voice actors that I would also mention like Drew Cocker. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing your last name. Drew, if you're out there, I'm so sorry, man, if I'm not getting your last name right. But yeah, I reached out to him after an incident happened that I won't mention, but I kind of feel like we talk to a lot of voice actors over like situations, like controversial
Yeah.
situations that just happen. But it just shows like we kind of start the connections grow and we discover, oh, we kind of have a lot in common. Hmm,
Mm-hmm.
who would have thunk it? But yeah, what are some of your favorite roles that you've done? Because I'm not sure if because you've voiced a lot of characters. You've been hustling and working like crazy. So what are some of the favorite ones that you're currently working on that is not currently not under NDA, of course, because I don't want to get you in trouble. Favorite roles that you've done so far.
Let me think. I definitely do look back on Goody D from Rise of the Machine Girls fondly just because that one line that was in the trailer was literally my favorite line I've ever done in anything. And
And
I'm not
what
going to repeat it here because child friendly.
oh yeah, kid. Yeah, gotta keep it PG, folks. I
Yeah,
was
I'm like,
almost
I'll be child friendly.
I mean, like, this is a safe podcast. If you want to get really dirty, like what other podcast? I mean, I'm not gonna give like I know there's a lot of 18 plus podcasts out there. So I mean, yeah, if we're gonna get really dirty, like there's like other podcasts that are like kind of your cup of tea. I mean, I know they're not everyone's cup of tea, but trust me. Um, but I mean, for my podcast and a couple of other ones, I mean, it's just chill. Just have a good time. It just chillax. Chill.
Chill.
Yeah. I'm sorry, did I cut you off? I think you were going to say something else.
No, I'm just kind of thinking, like, what are other
Okay.
ones?
Yeah.
Oh, Roya Gold from Angelic Waves. That was a really good one. Definitely one I related to a lot. Mm, let me think what else. Oh, Noah from Since When Did I Have a Combat Butler? That was one of my first named roles. Oh my gosh, he's so baby.
Hmm.
What else? Let me think. Oh my gosh, there's so many roles. I'm definitely excited to do Gaia and Cosmic Wonders. I can't wait to approach her. Hmm. Oh my gosh, I can't think of that many off my head because there's so many. There's so many good roles. I'll probably stop it there before I get too lost in my head.
No worries. Yeah, and there's just too many to even name a list because like one thing that a lot of people know about you is that like you really do love to I mean, like, I think this is something that, like, I think somebody asked because I'm just gonna promote the Q&A that you did a while back. If somebody asks, like, and also what people love is like, you know, the reaction gifs that you put out, like on your Twitter, like the reaction gifs of like anime characters and whatnot. I mean, it's really cute. And I mean, I do that too sometimes, but like, I think with you in particular, you always seem to find like just the right ones to use, whatever uh, for just whatever in whichever mood that you're in. Does it also help you like is it therapeutic to you in a way?
Actually, yes. I literally have a folder full of gifts in my phone. So
That's
yeah, I
nice.
will definitely always have the right one depending on the situation. And yes, it's very therapeutic.
Yeah. And for requests, because you do requests for writing VA songs, collab, and yeah. Are you what are some stuff that you're currently working with as far as collaborations go and anybody that you love to work with in the future?
I do have a couple of collaborations for comic dubs going on right now. One of them's with Josh. Uh, I have a song one that I'm working on. I'm not going to talk about that yet. I'm going to let you guys be surprised.
Yeah, just keep things under wraps until now, until when it's actually out. That's kind of yeah, I like that. I really do like that a lot. Great minds think alike.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Ooh, who do I want to collab with? Uh, let me think. Indie or no?
It could just be in general, indie, just anyone.
Ooh.
Pro. Yeah.
Ooh, if it were pro, is it weird to say that I'd love to one day work with Ryan Coldley Levy?
Oh yes. And yeah, everybody loves Ryan. Oh, also, Amanda Hubbard and June Yoon. Those are two other ones I want to give a shout out to. And Sarah Ruth Thomas. There's just way too many names.
There
Yeah.
are so many names. Actually, if I'm thinking even bigger, I'd also love to work with, Robinson someday if I can.
Oh, Zeno Robinson. Yeah. Yeah, he's really chill.
He is.
Yeah. I only met him once, and I actually did not know that he was at this VAC event that when I went to Anime Expo, and I didn't even know that he was there until like um until the pictures were posted, and then I found out, oh my gosh, it's Zeno. I met him. Okay, cool. Um, Also, Kellen Goff and Karina Becker, they're also really cool. If we're talking about professional VAs, they're also really nice as well. Really great. Um,
Mhm.
and yeah, I think I'm just gonna stop here. Kyle Bear is also another one I grew up with. And I think I'm just gonna stop there um, before I get to before I ramble on. So yeah, and yeah, we've been talking about a lot of different stuff.
Gosh.
Yeah, and it's not even been an hour already. So wow,
Oh,
holy
yeah, it
moly,
hasn't. Wow.
yeah. So I guess when it comes to designing your website and your demos and whatnot, so going back to Kira, because you did say that she was an influence, she actually directed you with your video game demo, which rocks. Uh,
Video game and animation.
and animation. Yeah. So how is it like getting to work with her and getting to work with a lot of people on your various demo reels and your website? Just pretty much your social media branding in general. If we're going to talk about the marketing and that aspect of voiceover, how's it like getting to work with all these people? You know,
Honestly, very unreal. Like, I still think back to the very first time I talked to Kira, and I remember being extremely scared because it's like, you're so amazing and you're helping me with something. And crazy enough, she still helps me with things even now. Like, I remember maybe a few months back when Caitlin Gott was actually starting her JRPG classes, she
oh yeah.
recommended me for it. And I'm like, if I could get in time, and I still sadly have not gotten in time, but just even the thought of thinking of me for that, it's just blowing my mind still.
Mm. Oh yeah. Caitlin's class was a lot of fun. Yeah, trust me, if you ever do take Caitlin's in the future, you're gonna absolutely love it. You're gonna love it. Yeah.
I'm already excited because I've wanted to do it for so long, but I always miss it because I'm at work.
Oh man, that's yeah.
Like, even when I'm prepared and sitting on my phone, if I'm like a minute late, it's gone. And I'm so sad every time.
Mhm. Yeah. Um, yeah, it really does happen. That's the same with when you're trying to sign up for Crispin Freeman. Like his classes go out like literally in seconds, like
Yeah.
literally seconds. So you got to be like on it. You just got to be right there at your fingertips on those pressing, just literally abusing those little key buttons that you have on there.
Chris
You
Hackney
got to
and
be.
Greg Tunes are like that too. It's
Oh
crazy.
yeah, I haven't taken theirs yet. I'd like to someday though. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, favorite classes though. I guess that's something else we could talk about. What are some of your favorite coaches or workshops that you've done so far?
Ooh, well, I've taken 2 of Kara's classes already, and I'm going for a
Yeah.
third in June. Um, Let me think. I loved Wendy Lee's class.
Oh yeah, Wendy was great.
Like, oh my gosh, that JRPG class gave me so much motivation still. Hmm. Oh my gosh, I love Patrick Seitz's class.
Yeah. I've heard a lot of good things about Patrick.
His voice that he has for all his deep voice characters, that's his actual normal
Dio.
voice. I'm just like,
Like,
oh my god, it's really as deep as it sounds.
oh, I mean, a lot of actors do use their natural voices like 80 or 90% of the time when they're doing like recording for projects and like for anime and whatnot. And Patrick, like, dude, his Dio though, like,
Yes.
mwah, yes, JoJo. Like, I haven't even watched all of JoJo, but literally Patrick as Dio just kind of stands out to me. I don't know why. Um, and if we're talking like JoJo, like Matt Mercer, also just that man. I just love Matt in general. Yeah, Critical Role, which I haven't watched all of, but yeah. I guess if we're gonna talk about D&D, like because I know that you sometimes occasionally dabble into it. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so what do you really like about D&D?
I'm still kind of finding the footing in terms of like tabletop and D&D as well. I love fantasy so much. It's literally what I write. So it's just nice to actually be that character instead of, just writing that character. Like, hey, I can be a bard and I can do whatever I want.
Mm. Oh yeah. I haven't actually sat down and like really gotten into the whole nitty gritty of it because you design a character and then there's a lot of campaigns. I mean, I'm not saying that it's gonna be big like Critical Role, but at least something along the lines of like, okay, there's time and also getting people together.
Yeah.
And there's also
Especially now.
scheduling. Yeah. It's not that only if I'm busy, but like it's got to have to work with a lot of people's schedules because they work, they're in school, and just a lot of factors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've really only gotten to do like one tabletop with friends, and oh, it was really fun. It was extremely fun. But we haven't had time to do another one yet because scheduling.
Understandable. So for the books and the writing, So explain the whole writing process when you're, because with you as an author, like you just explain like what do you personally enjoy and what is the hardest part when it comes to, sitting down and actually write, a story. Like what's your process like?
Oh, getting down to actually start writing. That's the hard part.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Especially nowadays because I have to balance the day job and the voice work, which I'm surprised I'm still getting so much voice work and it's taking my writing time away. And I never imagined that would happen. Oh God. So yeah, it's literally just starting to write. But when I actually do, it's the hardest part's really actually figuring like how do you start? Because I always like to start in the middle with certain things or just like plan certain scenes, but starting the actual story is difficult because I always want to redo it or rework it or yeah, it's a process. I want the perfect opening and I can't have it.
Yeah. Oh, of course, definitely. And do you um like before I get to the next question, when you were in school, like how would you describe like getting that education? Because you did say that you were self-taught, but like what was something that you really uh like, not to get into the negatives, but what were some of the positive, like the best memories that you've had when you went to school, and what did you really get the most out of it? What lesson, what piece of advice that you really got, that really stood out to that stuck with you, after you graduated and moving on to, with your creative pursuit, so to speak?
See, actually, with high school, I was surprisingly an honor student despite writing so much during classes. And I'm kind of grateful that I actually had a creative writing class as well. I was sadly enough one of the only students in that whole group that was interested in actually doing writing. So it's a bit of a shame, but I know one thing that definitely stuck with me is that my creative writing teacher actually sat down and read something I had penned. Like I started writing this whole fantasy story. I think I did maybe like 60 pages and she sat down and wrote comments on every single page. And I'll never forget that.
Mm, okay. And before we can, I mean, at the very end, you can just say, like, give, advice. You can just say that for the, when we get to the end of this. But yeah, so when you're writing, um, do you often recall, like, do they, most of the stories that you write, do they come from personal life experiences, or is it totally different with you?
It's a bit of both, honestly. I have this penchant that if I write a character, I want them to have at least one trait of mine. Like, say, if I
Yeah,
have a
base
character that's
characters
really
off yourself.
stubborn,
Yeah. Oh, that's fine. Yeah.
like one character is like, you're really stubborn, or another one, you have anger issues, another one, you're really short, another one, you like to drink, don't you? Yeah. I like to have elements of myself in like each character I create, whether good or bad or anything in between, weird quirks. It's good to put yourself into a story.
Yeah. Um, I mean, there's always the I mean, a lot of your stories do have OCs. Like I know that you've kind of wrote fanfics back in the day. So is it something that you like to revisit, like writing fan fictions based on, I don't know, your favorite properties?
I kind of still do it because I actually on occasion do write for fanzines, and it's nice to actually have the books in the actual in my hand. It's nice to actually have those books. But honestly, aside from that, not overly. I don't like to tackle fan fictions that much anymore, especially looking back at my old ones. It's like, what were you thinking?
Oh yeah. You have those really old cringy the writing and
Oh,
yeah.
13-year-old self-insert Shakyra who has a crush on
So
Sora. We don't talk about it anymore.
oh yeah. Oh, those fanfics.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, it was bad. It was bad. I was in deep and it was bad.
Yeah. So who are some of your like favorite what's your favorite like fan projects or fan work that you've either read or like some of your favorite fan content in general? Stories, yeah.
Mm, Hmm. I know I definitely have some fanzines I love reading. Like I kind of just purposely pen for the stories sometimes. I look at the art, but I also pen for the stories a lot. Mm, There's a few of them in this Kingdom Hearts zine that I wrote for Shion's in particular. The stories in there are just all so diverse and fun. uh Let me think. What else? Who else do I like reading? Let's think. How safe for work are we thinking?
Yeah.
Hmm. I can't think of any that I've been reading recently that's safe for work. Yeah, I kind of just focus on zines in terms of the safe for work, or I reread old stories that are just kind of penned through other fanfiction.net places. I do kind of stick more to Kingdom Hearts and Final Fantasy, though, I've noticed.
Oh yeah, Final Fantasy. Like, let's talk about that for a moment.
Go on.
Yeah, so what got you into Final Fantasy?
Going back to Kingdom Hearts. Well, yeah, it's mainly Kingdom Hearts that gave me like the interest because I knew of Cloud and Aerith at the time. I didn't really know much in terms of like their story. I just knew that Aerith was dead because I had an older cousin that actually used to play the Final Fantasy series a lot. So I knew of the series. But then I played Kingdom Hearts and then I started getting into my teenage years and actually started acquiring Final Fantasy. And Crisis Core was actually my very first Final Fantasy that I owned myself. And oh boy, that was the beginning of the end.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's like, yeah, it was just over for me from that point onwards.
Yeah, and now I can't look at any other Final Fantasy mail the same way. I
Oh no.
can't do it.
Oh no. Oh
Yes,
no.
I'm at the beginning of the end.
Yeah. Favorite characters in general? Not specifically, I mean, you could say Kingdom Hearts and Final Fantasy, but like, who are some of like favorite characters like from any piece of media who, you know, like really stood out to you and that they have that you have a soft spot in your heart for. Yeah.
Okay. Well, obviously, the obvious answers would be Sora, and I'm deeply obsessed with Zach Fair, and no one's ever going to forget that, it seems. Neither am I.
Yeah.
Okay. Soft spots for other characters. I've been playing Tales of Arise, and I really have a soft spot for Alphen, and I also really love Dohalim. Let me think what else. Tales of Series. I also love Edna in Tales of Hysteria. She's literally the best. And that's kind of how I got introduced to Kira Buckland when she became a professional voice actor. I knew of her contact like back before she debuted, but yeah, Edna just sold me in that game. What else? What else? Uh, hmm. Final Fantasy characters. I also really love Ignis from 15. He's great. Laguna and Zell from 8. Zidane. I would not say Zidane. I'm sorry. It's Zidane from 9. Um, Gosh, what else? Oh, Persona. I love Persona. Futaba. I love Joker. Ryuji. Oh gosh. For 3, I love Akihiko. He's literally the only Persona man I would ever marry because all the rest are a bit immature. But Akihiko, yeah, that's the one I'd marry. Hmm. There are so many characters I can think of. Let me think. Anime. I've been really getting into Vanitas from the case study of Vanitas. The case study of I can't help but say Vanitas because I play Kingdom Hearts, so I'm just gonna leave it at Vanitas at this point. Hmm. I could go on a complete rant about anime characters if I'm being completely honest.
Sure, that's entirely. Yeah, that's Oh yeah, like I feel like this is probably gonna take a while too. So
Yeah, I'm like,
yeah,
I should probably stop.
yeah. Um because I did ask okay, so favorite character. So going back to the writing thing. So you did mention oh yeah, there's also the writer's block, like that
uh,
too.
the
Yeah.
constant block.
Yeah. So I guess what are some way how do you deal with those and how do you overcome them as a writer?
Honestly, it's really just been my method to write other things besides the main issue at hand. Like if I'm having trouble actually starting a story, I will write other scenes. I will outline on occasion. I will think of how the characters are going to react in certain situations that I have planned, or I go and read something else. There's literally no in between.
Yeah. And I know that when I actually do you have like any favorite stories that you've written so far?
Definitely has to be the final lesson duology. That story is just I love the inspiration that it had. It came from Kiki's Delivery Service, Chronicles of Narnia, Kingdom Hearts, of course. It's just I love the hero's journey, really. That's always
Mhm.
been one of my favorite concepts to write is just the hero's journey.
Yeah. So let's I guess if you want, we could just talk about like how to juggle, how to because I know a lot of people do struggle with like um mental health and whatnot. So we're not going to get too deep into this because I've already had like other conversations with other voice actors about it. So yeah, with your own struggle. I mean, one thing that I really do appreciate is how you're honestly very open and honest about like, what you're feeling, getting your emotions, like if you need to vent, like, and stuff like that. So when it comes to, I guess, when you're having a bad day, like what usually helps you cope whenever you have like, these, moments where you're feeling just yeah, down. If we're gonna get into this deep, yeah, this is the part of the podcast where we're gonna get deep. So what do you do?
Honestly, talking about it has been pretty helpful. That's why I'm so open about it on Twitter. Like,
Yeah.
why withhold the struggle? It's just been it's been really easy for me to start doing that lately. It might seem a little bit like preachy, is that the word? Mm, people don't like when you like vague book or anything, or is that the term that the kids use today?
Oh yeah. I will also say that like with social media, like I mean it is how you wanted to brand it is your own personal social media. So what you post on there, it's entirely up to you. So what are the pros and cons of having a social media presence?
Uh, honestly, very good for marketing, especially my Twitter. Like I've gotten so many jobs just because of Twitter alone.
Mhm.
Um, I can't ever personally see myself as a true professional just because I am so open about everything on my Twitter. Because people think there's like this standard of, oh, you have to be professional. You have to, not talk about certain controversies, like the Black VA community, for instance.
Mhm.
I'm very open about how I can't stand when people harass the Black community. I really will not be anything less than open about that. It's just, I'm Black. I may as well.
So am I. I mean, like with
Exactly.
people like Bell and what is it? The VOC, and PGM Violist, and those guys. We're just taking a stance for what we believe is right,
Mhm.
and I can't really speak for everybody on there. I know that um, I'm not even the most qualified expert at this. So, like, if you want to talk to somebody who, I mean, you could just probably talk to like I don't know anybody who's in VOC or like the PGM and those guys, because and not just with the Black community, but just like people of different races, different
Mhm.
ethnicity. So like the people of color just been, and especially after the whole like um, just certain incidents, certain stuff that have happened like back in 2020. And people have been
Oh,
pushing for like, oh yeah, that I still can't believe it. But I mean everybody knows what I'm talking about. But like people have been taking more of a because we're just tired.
exactly.
We're just really tired of just seeing all of this like social unrest and this unfair like circumstances that just continue to happen to us, and we're fighting for bigger changes that are happening in the industry. And we're just tired of like having roles that are just being passed on because I mean it's kind of like when you're doing theater or like when you're in television, because people they just flat out just don't pick you for the role because you're not the same height, or uh like you're too skinny or too fat. And just it's awful. It's just really really terrible, like the amount of just
Discrimination.
garbage discrimination. It's just a bunch of garbage that people go through. And like I said, I can't speak for everybody, but like people have different experiences and just a lot of stuff that just keeps happening. And I mean, sure, it's gonna attract like negative attention, but you know what? It is what it is. It's like my feelings, my opinions. You don't have to agree with me. You don't have to agree with Shakyra. I mean, you don't have to agree with anybody who's been talking about, the diversity and representation on Twitter. But like, just don't harass and attack us for what we feel what you know and I don't mean to get this heated, but like it's just really sickening just seeing how like oh well, just because it never happened to me, like I don't believe, like no, trust me.
No.
If like clearly you kind of don't I hate to say this, but like you clearly have not experienced the world, buddy. I think you've kind of been living under a rock if you don't believe that this amount of racism exists, pal. I'm sorry. No, it does. It still
Yeah.
exists. And like
Massively.
I was just talking with Aaron Fitzgerald, another amazing talented voice actress. We were
I
just
love
talking
Aaron.
about like yeah, she's amazing. We were just talking about like the Black Lives Matter stuff, and that was one of the main topics that we were discussing about. And just actually talking to somebody who actually knows and understands the pain that a lot of African Americans and like a lot of other like Korean, Middle Eastern, just so many people that are just speaking up about it. Like I mean, there's a war going on in Ukraine and Russia, and it's awful. Like, I can just discuss why, if there's something that like companies are just ignoring, or just if they're flat out dense, then I am gonna give my own input. But it doesn't mean like this is the gray area that like I think it's something that a lot of people are just afraid of. Like they're afraid of speaking out because they don't want to risk like their careers being on the line for speaking out
Hmm.
against companies that are doing that they want to work in, or like for companies that have been doing this for years. They're just kind of afraid that they might have bad relationships. I think that's something that a lot of people are kind of like, I mean like I get that because you don't want to burn bridges, and I totally get that. But if it's something that is like, okay, no, this is totally unacceptable, like you know like like that incident, like with that one project that kind of fell through, like everybody was like totally on board saying like, yeah, that is not okay, that's totally unacceptable. And the
Exactly.
drama that happens, like so much controversy happens, but at the end of the day, we're just people. And also the world, like with social media, at the end of the day, it's just a huge dumpster fire. It can be good for uh you know like we talked about, like the community. It can be very nice, and a lot of people have made very close relationships. Some have even gotten married through social media, so
Hmm.
it's good for that. But like yeah, you just cannot sit down and have a conversation with somebody without like talking about oh hey, I think maybe we should probably wear masks to this event. And people are like so what, it's a free country, I could just do whatever I want. Okay, have fun. I hate to sound cruel and harsh, but like, I mean, one of my guests also said this, and I'm just gonna say this word for word, my word, their words, not mine, but like, hey, I don't need to wear a mask because I am totally entitled to what I believe in. And it's like, okay, so what would you much rather want to wear? Do you want to wear a mask? You just don't want to put a piece of cloth over your face, or better yet, you can end up in a ventilator. Your
Yeah, it's
choice.
I'm like mask or IV, your choice.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I guess with the politics, it can be it's incredibly tricky. I mean, I know like some VAs, they are incredibly political on Twitter, like some names we know of, but yeah, at the end of the day, I mean, I just don't pay attention to that. That's why I don't pay attention to like certain controversies with VAs. I just stay out of that because that is not my place. That is not my but if it's for like something the Black VA community, I mean, I am totally going to speak about it because like I am African American, so I can't talk about it. But if it's like something like a controversy with a certain VA, I'm like, nope, I'm not. Nope, nope, no. I'm good. I might rather focus on stuff that because like stuff like that, it just drains your energy, and it's like
Exactly.
you have so many people that are like at each other's throats, like, how dare you? No, don't do this. And it's like, I just don't have time for that. And also, y'all are adults. We're all grown adults. We have people that are, you just don't know who is watching your Twitter. I mean,
Yeah.
anybody can just look at what you say, and it's like, oh, I don't want to work with this person because they're saying this and this and this. And it's like, oh, I don't think I want them on this project that I'm doing. So you just got to be careful with what you say. There's a reason that they say, please think before you tweet. It exists for a reason. Just be smart with using social media. Just please do. Please,
Yeah.
I beg you, please.
Yeah, and that's kind of something I've learned myself. You really do have to pay attention before you tweet something. And especially it also helps to think about who you're talking to before anything
Oh
happens.
yeah,
Like I've had a nice chunk of incidents happen because someone
you
decided
don't
to
need to get
be
into. Yeah, don't need to
yeah.
name stuff. Yeah, but yeah,
But yeah.
continue.
Uh not naming names, just I remember one incident where the person basically had a Discord group, and within that group they were just like they started for some reason talking about me in particular because I'm a bigger VA to them, and I book. And they're just like, oh, she only gets cast because of her skin color. And I'm like, that's like the complete opposite of how it works, honestly. First of all, Black people don't get the same opportunities as white people.
Exactly.
And that is the elephant in the room. We really do not get the same opportunities. And we've only recently started getting some of those similar opportunities. Elephant in the room.
Yeah. Oh my God, I could just go on about this. But yeah, and there's also another. Okay, that's something that I will actually bring up. Anime dubs going union. So where do you see that going?
I'm honestly hoping it's like I'm in the middle of it because it's like I want people to get paid more. I want people to have health care. I don't want other people's dreams to be I don't want other people's dreams to be sacrificed for the sake of that though. Like if it has the chance of cutting out international people that are non-union like me for instance, I'm non-union. If it has the chance of cutting out other people's dreams, I don't want it.
Mhm. Yeah,
So yeah, I'm very
totally.
much in the middle of that.
Yeah. And also just want to say congrats on, booking an agency, which is exciting.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I bet that was also something else that just came like you weren't even expecting, but like you're just glad that you're working with the people.
Let alone an LA
Jackson.
one.
Oh yeah, Jackson Agency. I mean, okay, before anybody asks, no, I'm not affiliated with the Jackson Agency. I mean, just because my last name is Jackson doesn't mean, I mean, I wish I was, but no. I mean, fingers crossed someday, but I'm in no relation to them. But yeah, I mean, Jesse, if you're listening to this, love ya. Let's hang. But yeah, yeah, let's hang out sometime. We really should more often. But yeah,
Love you, Jazzy.
yeah, love you. You rock. You work super hard. There's a hashtag going around called Let Jazzy Rest. None of
Oh
us
my
even
gosh.
rest. Like, yes, none of us do. So what am I mean, both of us, we just kind of, it's
Oh,
like, oh yeah, hey, so let's talk about sleep. And it's like, what's that
I got
exactly?
3 hours last night, so
I mean, like
3 hours.
I stay up at like until 3 a.m. and for some reason I still wake up at like 10 or 11 sometimes. So
But at
my
least that's eight
sleep schedule,
hours.
oh yeah. I mean, sometimes it could just be 3 to 4. So
Mm.
my sleep schedule's been whack ever since the pandemic. I know everybody just kind of can just say the same thing. Yeah, it's
I don't
just
even know what my sleep
times are
schedule
weird.
is.
I don't either. Times are weird for all of us.
Yeah.
It's weird. So yeah, I think we are approaching like an hour and 30 minutes. So
Oh,
yeah, wow. I don't want to make this too long, but yeah, is there like, do you have like any social media that you like to plug and just yeah, talk about any upcoming work that you like to gladly promote and all that good jazz?
oh, of course, my Twitter, which is at Shakyra Dunn, my with a Y, not an I, because
Okay,
everyone does that. It's with a Y, not an
trust me,
I.
it's not the singer Shakira.
Albeit I do sing, but I don't have the body for that anyway. My YouTube is Seer of Words. What else? Oh, my Instagram is also Seer of Words. My website is shakiradunn.va.com, or I think it's that, or just .va, just .va. I don't know websites anymore. What else? Final thoughts. Uh, be kinder to Black people, especially those of us that are dubbing or going to potentially be dubbing.
Exactly.
Because holy crap, you guys need to be better about that.
Yeah, there's a lot of instances I would name, but I'm not. No,
And
I don't want
actually,
to be
now that I think
petty.
about it, Zeno did say it best. Like, if you can support him getting big roles, support the female ones too.
Okay, especially the females. Like, my God. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. And let's see. Anything else that you want to share?
Um, buy my books. I like fantasy. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not good at promoting my books. I never really get to.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you have like any favorite music or like musicals? Because you did say mention you like Broadway.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Wicked is my all-time favorite, which I think Elsie Lovelock would actually agree with. Um,
Elsie, that's another one too. She's awesome.
yeah, she is. What else? Mm, I love Rent. I don't like the people in Rent, but I like the music in Rent. What else? What else? Oh gosh. I actually don't mind the Disney Broadway musicals. Like I don't mind the music in Frozen, even though I don't like the actual movie Frozen. Uh
Mm,
The Little
mm.
Mermaids is actually really good for music. What else? Uh oh my gosh, there are so many musicals. I've actually been listening to Glee's music, which is surprising. I haven't even actually watched the show, but I love listening to the music from Glee.
Mm. I think I just started watching Glee, like the show Glee on Netflix. Not bad.
Not bad.
Yeah, that's all I can say. I mean, like when people describe the show, it's like, it's decent, not bad.
It's still one of those shows that make you want to punch the stock theater kid in the throat. I'm looking
Wow.
at you, Rachel Berry.
Oh, wow. Okay. Geez, we're gonna call out the theater kids now. Okay. Wow.
Rachel
Um,
is terrible from what I have seen of that show. So no, I
geez.
can't. I have to.
Yeah. I mean, you're not wrong, but okay.
That's about right.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, we could just say like the stuff we like or the stuff but everybody else doesn't or vice versa. So yeah, that's an interesting one.
What do I like?
That a lot of people don't and vice versa.
I like embracing my fangirlness because oh my god, you see it on the daily. You will most definitely see it on the
I mean,
daily.
I don't miss it. I'm on Twitter every day and I literally come across like one or two of your posts on my timeline. So it's inescapable to me.
Bring Zach Fair into it, and it's an over It's over and done already.
Hmm. Yep. Of
Hmm.
course.
Something something that I don't like that other people like.
Yeah.
Uh, what don't I like? Oh my gosh, what don't I like? Um. Oh my gosh, this is actually hard. What don't I like? Oh, I don't like Ghost in the Shell.
Mm, that's a new one.
I'm not a big fan of certain sci-fi related things. Like I like Star Wars. I don't mind Star Trek, but I haven't watched enough of the movies for that. But I like Steins Gate, but I don't watch a lot of sci-fi.
Mm. I guess what's the type of genre like that you really enjoy watching?
Oh gosh, I love fantasy so much.
Of course.
I will talk about Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, Lord of the Rings. So just talk about it real quick and then we should probably wrap it up soon.
Oh, okay, let me think. I love the atmosphere. I love the world of that place. It's so vast. New Zealand's very beautiful, by the way. Let me think. Sam is the best. Hmm. I like Legolas, but I prefer having Orlando Bloom as Will Turner. That's my very hot take. I prefer Will Turner to Legolas for Orlando Bloom. Uh, Gimli's cool. I love I love all the characters in there. Even the ones that I'm supposed to hate, I don't mind them at all. Hmm. I do, however, prefer Bilbo to Frodo because Frodo keeps getting stabbed too much in the first movie, as I recently remembered after watching my roommate watch the first movie. And he looked at me so funny the last time. And he got stabbed 5 times in that movie, and 2 of them were dumb. And he looked at me and he's like, if this boy gets stabbed again, I'm like, it's the last time, I promise.
Man, if this dude, if they finna stab this man, man in the back. But okay. So uh, with everything that we've talked about writing, what do you personally believe makes good, solid storytelling that keeps viewers engaged with what they're consuming? What is
Oh
good
boy.
storytelling to you? Just
Good,
yes,
good storytelling. All
it's
right,
all
so
yours.
here's a take that I have. Even if your plot is typical and it sucks because it's so typical, make your characters memorable because they are the world, not the world itself. Make your characters great, and that's all you need.
Hmm. I think I remember hearing this before
I think
from you.
I mentioned that.
Yeah, I at least said that one Q&A that I mentioned earlier.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
I still stand by that. Like, make your characters great. If your story sucks, just make your characters great.
yeah. So it's like pretty much when you're a writer, you're also an actor, just with I guess when you have like a pencil or like whatever the term is used. So
I have all these pens just on me, so
yeah, like being a writer means that you're also communicating your feelings on paper. So it's like you're pretty much getting into the characters' heads and their skin as you're writing the dialogue. Yeah, trust me, it really does happen more often than you think.
Mhm.
Trust me. And so have you heard the term like it's kind of like in animation where it's like the animation can be, you can have bad animation but like good writing will save the story, or like if you have good animation but it's not going to save bad writing. Do you agree with that? um
yes, I actually do agree with that. Especially
yeah.
like for certain shows. Like I can tell you, there's this one anime out there called Glass Lip. It is one of the prettiest shows, and I can't tell you a single thing about the first episode because I don't know if anything actually happened in it.
So it's like nothing happened.
Nothing happened. Nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, so what are some stuff that you're watching or playing, or like any recommendations for people that you're getting into now that you want to recommend to people out there?
Ooh, uh, like I said, I just started watching the case study of Vanitas. I think some people have seen my tweet about that going on so far. I'm about 3 episodes in. That's a great show so far. Like, especially if you, I'm not even into the idea of vampire anime because I can't stand Vampire Night. I loved Hellsing. Can't stand Vampire Night. I love that show so far. I really love it. Uh, what else am I watching? I stay with One Piece. I stay with One Piece. Uh, Fruits Basket.
That's another big one.
As you
I
can
was like,
tell, I'm a fan.
yeah, it's like, how could we end this off and you don't even mention Fruits Basket? That would just be a crime against humanity.
Especially considering I'm representing my boy Kyo.
Yeah. So, what do you really love about Fruits Basket and favorite anything, everything about that show in
Oh boy,
particular? Yeah.
where to begin? Honestly, it's my favorite manga still. I finished that series when I was 16 years old. Uh, it's weird that it's actually gotten better to me with age because of my life experiences. Like, I am really in Toru's shoes nowadays because I lost my parents. I don't have either of my parents. I have a lot of good friends in my community now, like how she's basically gotten really entwined with the Soma family. Uh, I try to be as supportive as I can to other people because it's just, I know the feeling of loneliness. I know exactly how she feels. And it's like, I feel like I relate to her even more now that I'm older and just everything's changed so much. And that's one thing I really loved about the fact that they got a remake for that show. It's like now I can appreciate it even more and it's going to be finished.
Mhm.
What else? I love the depth that each of the Soma characters have. My favorites are Kyo, Yuki. Shigure is actually the one that's, my zodiac, which that should be pretty telling if you think about it. Oh boy.
Mm.
And funny enough,
Yeah.
he's actually also a writer too. So
Yeah.
um oh gosh. I knew an Akito, funny enough. I very much knew an Akito.
Yeah. So, what do you? Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm just still kind of thinking, but go for it. Go for it.
No, you could just yeah. I won't interrupt you.
I think what else? Uh I mentioned the characters. Like, oh my gosh, the relationships as well are like really strongly written as well. Even for just the sequel series, Fruits Basket and Another, I would really love to be in that show if it ever gets an anime. Like, I would love to play no spoilers, Shigure-san. They all eventually get children, but I'm not gonna say who's with who. But yeah, Shigure does eventually get a son. His name is Shiki. I would love to play Shiki. I love Shiki.
Mhm. So, real quick, sub or dub?
For Fruits Basket in particular.
I'm sorry. No, like in general.
Oh, in general, I'm a both.
Yeah, especially Fruits Basket and a lot of the other favorite stuff that you like. You know.
Oh, Fruits Basket, I watch in dub.
Okay,
I watched
cool.
it in dub growing up. I was so happy to see that most of the cast came back for the remake. So yeah, I was strictly dub for that one.
Yeah, I guess I'm just the same way. I'm. mm, I mean, there are times where I'm like really, really, really picky, but for the most part, I'm just kind of, I'm just chill. So, okay. And any last piece of advice that you have for anyone out there who want to give this a shot, and those who are, I know you gave advice to anybody who's struggling out there. I know you've said that earlier, but or at least if you have more to add on to that, and where do you expect to see the future of the industry, your career, your life, just anything in general? Last piece of advice to anybody who wants to give this a shot, and just any encouraging words to those that are in a rut and the future.
Honestly, even with just in life, with your careers, anything in general, make connections. It's There are good people out there. There are some really bad people out there, but there are also really phenomenal people. And the right people will definitely be the ones that'll guide you even further in life. I didn't know that feeling until I came back to the voice acting community. So that's the one thing I'm the most grateful for is just knowing so many different people. because I don't think I'd be the person I am if not for that happening. Let me think what else. If you do actually pursue voice work, don't go into it thinking you're going to be successful just right off the bat. You are going to have a lot of shut doors. A lot of shut doors. Oh my gosh. Like I can count on one hand. Like I mentioned doing this as a teenager. I stopped because of all the shut doors at that point. I could not handle criticism the way I can nowadays. Like in high school there was a couple of guys that were just like, you sound so boring. You sound emotionless all the time. And I'm like, the irony is that I was doing voice work at the time and I stopped because of that. Just know that it takes time, even if you have to stop and come back, or if you don't ever do it at all. Everything takes time and you'll find your path.
Yeah, that would be pretty solid advice on how to take constructive critique. Uh, unless if there's more if you want to add to the critiquing part.
I think I'm good for now.
Yeah, and I mean, there's like I know I've asked this before with like the past guests, so yeah, I know there's plenty of other good advice that you could take from people who have actually, I mean, especially like, in anime, like, yeah, like I said, there's a lot of critics out there. So yeah. And it's all about also developing a really thick skin and going through the, not even so much as the rejections, but like in your case, a lot of shut doors. And it's about who is the best actor for the part. And you just got to accept it and be like, you know what? I'm so glad. I'm glad that they actually got the part. I think it was a tweet that Tiana, she's also in
Camacho?
JoJo. Macho, yes, she made a great tweet saying that like, if you're just gonna secretly like compete against someone, then you're just wasting your time. And I'm like, you know what? Yes,
Yep.
I totally agree.
Yeah, I
And
saw that one earlier too.
yeah, and I commented on it, so it's like, yep, absolutely, 100% yes.
Yeah, it's
Oh
like
yeah,
we're not supposed to all be competition, even though we technically are because we're competing for different roles.
yeah.
Like we're supposed to build each other up, honestly, so that we can have a chance at those better roles for next time. Improve.
Yeah, there's always going to be that one role that is going to be perfect for you anyway. So why get all worked up about it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, life is way too short. Seriously, like,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, that's why on my Twitter, I don't really. I mean, it is my Twitter. It's how I use it. I don't really vent. I don't bellyache. I don't whine and complain like, it's really hard. It's really hard. It's so hard. It's so hard. I mean, I was like that at first, but trust me, I quickly learned that people are not gonna like, yeah,
I,
it's
I
you're
think
not
there's a
gonna do
tasteful
like
way to
that.
kind of do it. So
There's a tasteful way. Yeah, but at the same time, you don't want to make your account like all the negativity because that's gonna like distance people. So please be careful on how you use your social media. Just be careful. So
like, oh, especially with bigger followings, and I'm guilty of it. I admit, I get really negative sometimes, but I also make it a point to like, don't do it to other people.
exactly. Oh, exactly. Um, but with that, I think you've listed your social media earlier, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, do you have like any last words, any closing like goodbyes, farewells, or anything?
Goodbye, farewell to you, my friend.
Mhm.
Well, let me think. How do I say goodbye properly? I'm not the best at really saying
Oh,
goodbyes.
I got an idea.
Yeah.
You could say, I do this at the end of every interview. Not everyone of particular, but you could say, "Hi, my name is Shakyra Dunn. I'm a voice actress, singer, writer, blah blah blah. You may know me for so and such and such and such, and you're watching the Station Square podcast."
Oh, okay. Hi, my name is Shakyra Dunn. I'm a voice actor, singer, author. I'm always tired. You know me as Noah from Since When Did I Have a Combat Butler? You're going to potentially see me as Gaia in Cosmic Wonders. I'm known for Roya Gold and Angelic Waves. And you are watching Station Square podcast.
With your host, Robert Jackson. That is perfect. Yeah. Oh, yeah. One last extra question. Favorite memes
Favorite memes.
and least favorite, I guess.
I really like the sumimasen. What the fuck? Okay. Actually, you know what? Give me a second. I have a literal folder of memes.
Gosh. I have a lot of reaction gifs, and I'm just like, if there's something that I like, chances are I'm probably going to use it for something, even if it's out of context. Out of context is fun.
Gosh, no
But,
kidding.
yeah.
Where is it?
Dude, I think my favorites are like the Ed and Eddie out of context clips.
Okay, I remembered another one.
Yeah.
If the camera can pick it up at all.
Okay.
I have a very terrible camera. Please forgive me.
No worries.
The glare is unreal right now. Okay, so it's just a picture of Aerith and Tifa, and it just says Zach's fat ass. I'm like, oh, I forgot about that one. Oh, there's also another one that's Britney Spears' song Hit Me Baby One More Time. And it's just my lower back is killing me, and I'm like, me constantly.
Yeah, there's
least
like
favorite?
yeah.
I don't think I have a least favorite. That's
Me neither. Yeah. I think one that I really wasn't into was Do You Know the Way with the Gondon Knuckles, but now I guess that's official with the new Sonic movie that's out right now.
Yeah, it is.
When he's a part of a tribe now. So I guess that's official. So hey, all you Uganda Knuckles fans, I guess yeah, I hope you're happy now. So whoop-dee do.
Kid in the tribe.
Yeah. Let's see, what other favorite ones? Is this and then it shows an image of something like that
I
one
actually
guy.
have that.
Yeah. So is this America?
Oh boy.
Yeah. Is this so and so and so insert random politic here? Yeah. Just a quick question. Have you seen like any of the like have you seen the Sonic movie or like about Sonic Origins or like any of the future like I guess Sonic related stuff?
My roommate's obsessed with Sonic. That's literally his series. Like How Kingdom Hearts is my series. That's his series.
Oh, so I better probably ask him instead. So yeah.
Oh no, it's fine. I'm pretty up to date on things.
Yeah.
And I love both of the Sonic movies.
Okay. I've only seen the first one. I've yet to actually sit down and watch the second one. So yeah. Yeah. Hopefully I will soon. Okay, I will. Just calm down. But yeah, I guess this is it for this episode. For my podcast, you can be sure to check out the interviews once they go up on my social like platforms. I'm on SoundCloud, Anchor, YouTube, pretty much anything that yeah, this is going to be in the video version will be up on YouTube, but the audio sound version is going to be up on SoundCloud and other podcast platforms, whatever the cool platforms that people are using these days. But yeah, this has honestly been a lot of fun. So thank you, Shakyra, for taking the time to stop by and just chat, geek out about games and Kingdom Hearts and all that cool jazz.
Well, thank you for having me.
Not a problemo. I might have you back on again in the future someday. So stick around because I'll still be here. Yeah. So yeah, just follow me on my socials. I'm on Twitter at MysticIRJ. I'm Robert Jackson everywhere. It's really not that hard to find me. So yeah, with that said, thank you for watching. Stay tuned for next time. And I am probably going to go get something to eat because it is already my dinner time. So yeah, until then, take care, y'all. And yeah, I hope to chat with y'all next time. This is Robert Jackson signing out. And thank you for watching Thank you for watching the Station Square podcast. I'm done now. I need to stop talking now because yeah.
I
So
feel.
yeah. So okay, I'm done now. Peace out, y'all. Bye. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye. Peace. Peace. Rock on. Yeah. A Gretzigo. Bye.